things that were going on in the marketplace that will continue that trend for now and far into the future. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about brands matter. Whether it's your brand as a store in the marketplace, whether it's our brand as a tire maker, whether it's a program like Mr. Tire, but brands do matter in the marketplace. And we'll kind of talk about that, and how we will also show you some tools that hopefully we can help you develop your brand as well. So starting out with the female CEO of the household, what do we mean by that? If you look at what's going on with that, 85% of the household purchases, which is very similar to the percentages they gave you just a few minutes ago, 85% of the household purchases are made by women. They control it. I know that happens in my house. Pretty much I ask for how much money can I get. My wife writes me transfer some money over to the account so I can go to the ATM and get it. So, but females control the purse strings in most households. 85% of the purchases are handled by women. So that's one. 2/3 of women are either the sole provider or a co-breadwinner in the house. If you look at it, almost 40% of all tires purchased in the last 5 years were made by women. And of those, the last time they purchased tires, 66% said they did it alone. So it's not the typical standing on the phone, talking to their husband on the thing and saying, he's telling me I can buy this or I can buy this, what should I do? They're doing it themselves. So, as they said just a few minutes ago, this is a category that we need to make sure that we're addressing, and addressing properly. There's a lot of ways to address the female market, and we're gonna do a lot of things I'll talk about here in a minute to try to do that. One of the things that hasn't changed that much is they still feel very misunderstood. 75% of the women still feel misunderstood by the automotive business, whether it's car dealer business, automotive repair, tire business. They feel like they're very misunderstood, and it's not necessarily comfortable for women, and a lot of times in the automotive section of the marketplace, going into a tire store, going into a car dealer, or whatever. And, we need to do that. We need to try to help open the doors and lay out the welcome mat for that. And this AskPatty.com deal is something we've looked at too. It's a very good tool to really address women and some of their needs out there. This might be a way to at least open the door. We talked about changing your showroom. Putting a bouquet of flowers might be one way of kind of open the door to women, but that's not how you address the women market. I mean, that's a good step, keeping your showroom cleaned up and everything else, but it's got to be much more than that. It's how we address the female consumer. It's how we invite them in. It's how we address them in some of the advertising and medium that you're going to use to draw customers in. So when we look at what we're going to try to do to target the female consumer at Bridgestone and trying to help our dealers, is we're going to do a lot more research with women in mind and how they look at products, and how they look at where they want to go and how they want to buy products. We're going to design a lot of our communication with that female CEO in mind on all of our communications, trying to address them more in what we do. And we're going to try to go to mediums that address that female consumer. We do some of it now. We want to try to up our efforts and make sure that we're doing that and drawing them into your place of business if you're carrying Bridgestone Firestone, so that they see that as a brand that cares about the female consumer. The second trend that we look at is the changing media landscape. And like I said at the beginning, it's not necessarily, I think we all know that people are doing business on their smartphone.